Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Eden's Fun Crochet. I'm Eden. It has been a week. I currently feel like crap. I don't know. It's just been a little rough of a week, mentally, emotionally, physically, just all the ways. My husband started school this week. That's fun. Today we're just going to chat. We're not going to do a vlog or anything like that. We're just going to chat for a little bit. My husband started school up again, and I started work up again, and it's been a little bit of a struggle trying to find a good balance for crocheting, personal life, work life, kid life, the whole thing. It's been a little rough of a start for the year. Nothing crazy, just definitely not starting off strong. But that's okay, because we've got the rest of the year, so we'll see how that goes. It's been a little crazy. We live in the basement of Tyler's parents' house. So we have 3 bedrooms, a living room area, and a little kitchen. Upstairs is Tyler's parents, Tyler's brother, and Tyler's brother's friend. And Tyler's brother and Tyler's brother's friend just moved in recently, and so this week has been a lot of trying to figure out their life and stuff, and trying to figure out how to all coexist peacefully in a house that has too much stuff in it. Tyler's mother-in-law is a little bit of a hoarder. Tyler's mother-in-law, my mother-in-law, Tyler's mom is a little bit of a hoarder, but so is my mom, so it's fine. So that has kind of gotten in the way of some goals that I had for this week as far as like videoing goes. I've been recording a video that I decided not to do, so that's another reason why it's been a minute since I've been on. It hasn't really been that long. It's only been like a week, but it feels like a long time versus like Vlogmas when I was posting every single day, and that was really fun, but it kind of burnt me out, so I will not be doing that again. I think I have new goals for Vlogmas for next year. Speaking of goals, I wasn't going to do any New Year goals this year, but I really like the idea of like a complete year. Like, it just feels really complete. Like being like, okay, this year, this is what I accomplished. I didn't set a lot of like yarn related goals last year. I set one which was finish or frog all my whips. If you don't know, I am a whip gal. I'm someone who likes to have a lot of different projects. I went through all my projects. I have done this multiple times, and usually I write them down in a notebook, and then I have a really hard time keeping that updated. This last year, I don't remember when it was, but at some point I found an app called Pocket Crochet that it's so much easier to keep track of my projects. I know you can do it in Ravelry, but that wasn't really working for me. And Pocket Crochet, I feel like, has worked really well for me. It's been really good. So that has worked well for me. It's really nice because anytime I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want to work on, I can just look at my app and I can be like, okay, this is like what I have currently. This is what I feel motivated to work on, so this is what I'm going to do, kind of thing. And it has worked really well. Also, I have a set amount of hooks. I have several of the ones that I use more often, but the ones that I use less often, I have less of. And they kind of just get stuck in projects, and so being able to write down what hook size I have for different projects, if I need a hook, then I can go look on my app and be like, oh, this project has that size, and then go look at that project and see if it has one in there. Or if I need to take one out, I can write down the hook size in the pattern, like in the app, and that way when I come back to it and there's no hook, I know what hook to use. And it's made it a lot better for that in particular, but there are also things that I like about it as well. So as far as goals of last year, that was really the only one. I did not finish all of my whips. I had quite a few. I think when I pulled out my, like, at the beginning of the year, I did not use the app, And I did finish several things before I used the app, but once I got the app, I put all my whips in, and it worked up to be about like 23, I think, 24. I think I'm at 13 right now. So I have 12 personal whips and 5 shop whips. Four shop whips. Two of these 5 I haven't actually started. So 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 shop whips. I have 15 whips right now, which is crazy good for me, especially since a lot of those are bigger projects that are longer. Like I have one that's like, I'm not making it. Everyone else is making it. So I have a lot of people in my life who crochet. And so anytime we have people together, I'm like, oh, would you want to crochet a granny square for this blanket? And most of the time they're like, oh yeah, I'd love to. And so when we're just sitting around chatting, that's what we're working on. It's a project where I have lots of people working on it, and then I take a picture of them with their granny squares, so I remember who made which one. And then I'll have a blanket made of granny squares that are made by like people that I love. And I got that idea from actually a tiny house video where the person she lived in a bus. Actually, it was a stationary bus, so it wasn't like she was moving, like she wasn't traveling or anything. She just lived in a stationary bus as her tiny home. And she had a crochet blanket that was made of all of her friends had made her squares, granny squares, and I thought that was really cool. So like that's one that's going to take a while, right? Like other people are going to be adding on to it. I do kind of have like a color scheme, and I have the yarn, and it's all set aside, but I'm not like actively working on it, and I'm not planning on actively working on it. And I have a few projects like that where like I'm not planning on getting them done anytime soon, or like temperature blankets, things like that. I don't have a temperature blanket currently, but like any like year-long things. I do have like a calendar blanket that I want to work on this year, and things like that are just like they're long-term projects. And I actually have several of those. I think that the minimum amount of projects that I would currently, like if I got everything done and had like one big project to like work on while I watch a movie, and like one fun project plus on my random blankets and things, that would get me around 10. So 15 is not bad. And I believe in doing what makes me happy, and so as long as it's well organized and I know what I have, and I'm like, don't just keep holding on to projects that are never going to get worked on, then I'm happy, and that doesn't stress me out as long as it's well organized. I did have to make some hard decisions about what projects I was going to give up working on and potentially use the yarn for other things. So that was a little sad that my very first blanket that I ever started, I decided to give up on it because I don't like the yarn, I don't like working on it, it doesn't make me happy, it just sits there because I don't like it, and it's not very far along. I feel like I did not necessarily what I had planned on doing, but I did alter the goal at some point, and I decided I didn't want to finish everything that year, that I would just wanted to get to a point where I was happy with the amount of whips that I did have, and that they were actively being worked on and organized in a way that didn't stress me out, which I did do. And I think that if I ever get to the point where I have 20 or more whips, then that is a point where I need to go through and decide which ones I want to get rid of, which ones I want to keep, which ones need to be worked on immediately so that they can be done, and things like that. 20 whips is like my max, 10 is like my minimum, and then where I'm at is a good middle ground, I think. And I do want to get down at some point, I think I'm going to be more hesitant about casting on bigger projects, but because I tend to be really motivated and then stop. And so I am going to be more cautious with what I start. And I don't want to start anything the day I think of it because I have other things I would rather do more. And so it should be like pondered before I start doing anything. Because I have a tendency to not work on the things that I've wanted to and start things that I immediately think of. For example, I wanted to make a Christmas sweater for a while with variegated Christmas yarn. It has been a goal that I've had for a while. A few years ago I saw TCD DIY, that's her YouTube name, and she does tons of tutorials. She did a Christmas variegated sweater at some point. I don't remember exactly in what style, but I loved the yarn. Like, I'm like, oh, like that is so cute, like a cute idea instead of doing a Christmas pattern. It's just, anyway, I thought it was really adorable, and ever since then it had been a goal of mine to do one. Not the specific one that she had made, but the idea of using variegated Christmas yarn to make a top of some kind. And I finally did that this year. And my husband was like, that's funny how you do that. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, you keep saying this is something you've been wanting to do for a while. But just this month you started like 4 new projects that popped, like the minute they popped into your head. Felt a little attacked, but he's right. So I do want to be more cautious about what I'm casting on. And if I do just start a random project, it has to be a small project, like a bandana or a hat, not a full-size sweater, which I've done 3 times this month already. Not this month, in December. Well, beginning of December to now, because I did start this one this month. So I didn't necessarily accomplish the initial goal that I made, but I did accomplish it as much as I want to accomplish it, / feel like it is reasonable for me personally and keep my sanity. As far as this year goes, I have some like small goals that I want to kind of like, not necessarily goals, but like things I want to progress towards. I mentioned Vlogmas. I will be doing Vlogmas differently this year. I like the idea of recording every day, but I think what I want to do is like do a week's worth of projects in one video and then have one full day to edit instead of everyday editing, everyday videoing, and just kind of like it felt like a lot. And so I think what I want to do is be like, hey, these are the projects I did this week, and then do all the like vlog videoing parts, and then like talk about like goals that I had for the week, what I would done, like the progress that I made, why I didn't reach my goals, why I went over and beyond with my goals, and then have a full day to edit, and then have a whole day off. So I would like, I already wasn't doing anything on Sundays as far as Vlogmas goes. So instead of just missing a random day to have like a day off every week, I will have like Monday through Friday, so I'll have 5 days of like vlogging and crocheting and working on different projects, and then Saturday will be for doing like the thumbnail and editing and all of that, and then Sunday I'll have the day off, and then Monday I'll start again, and so we'll feel more cohesive. That's my goal for Vlogmas for next year. It's fresh on my mind, and I hadn't talked about it because it was fresh on my mind. Other things that I want to get done. Thank you. I think if I only could make one goal for this year, the ultimate goal would be knit socks. Knitting socks is something that I've been wanting to get into for a while. I have always really loved crocheting and wasn't sure if I'd ever really get into knitting, but one thing that doesn't really do, like, crocheting socks doesn't really work. I've done it and it's okay, but like it just is better knit, and that is one of the things that I will like, I don't know, I really like crocheting. I think it's superior in many ways for me personally, but socks is one thing that I can't crochet and be happy about. Back in 23, we went to Fiverr Festival up north, and we actually had a booth there selling yarn. And while I was there, I bought a beautiful skein of yarn, beautiful hand-dyed yarn, and I bought some knitting needles, a 9-inch circular knitting needles, and some like knit stitch markers and like the whole thing. And it was my goal to make a pair of socks. I started it that day. Like, I didn't have a Swifter with me or anything, so I just like did it on the bed at the Airbnb we were staying at, and I rolled it into a ball from the hank, and I got a lot done on it. I think I finished the cuff that weekend. Didn't really get worked on because I had a baby at home, like a 9-month-old baby, I think. There are definitely things about it that could be improved, but it is a finished sock. And I finished it when my baby was about a month old, because we went on a really long road trip and I was able to get a lot done. I've recently cast on the second sock, but I've really been enjoying it. And I would like to make at least 2 more pairs of socks this year. So I went from 1 sock in 3 years to 5 socks in 1 year. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I would really like to get into sock making, I think. That is definitely a goal I have for this year. Like, if I had to pick one goal, that is it. I do have some, like, smaller things I want to work on. Like, I want to be more consistent with making videos on YouTube, and I'm going to be have my first shop drop next month, where I'm going to have all of the things that I have been working on and crocheting. And I think what I'm going to do is everything that doesn't sell in the 2 months before the next drop, I'm going to just have everything discounted and then just keep discounting them until they're gone, I think, is what I'm going to do. And eventually I'd like to get my own website, but right now I'm just going to be using Etsy. I would like to make more tutorials this year. I just need to set aside time to actually work on those. Because videos like this I can do with my kids just playing in the background, but tutorials take more focus and are better, more quiet. So I need to actually like schedule time in to work on those so that they're actually getting done, instead of just being an idea that never gets done. My husband is keeping track of all my financial stuff, and I would really like to have a set number at the end of the year, being like, this is how much money I made, and probably have a whole video dedicated to that, being like, this is all the money I spent, this is all the money I made, this is everything that has gone into and out of my business. And I think that would be really cool, especially since right now I'm not making any money off of it, because my Etsy is not up and running yet. My YouTube isn't big enough to be making any money off of it so far. That will be really exciting, getting to that point where, like, at the end of the year, seeing how far I've come from the beginning of the year where I wasn't making any money off of this, and at the end of the year I'm hoping I'll be making money off of it in 12 months. We'll see. Yeah, those are my goals for this year. Making socks, working on YouTube videos, keeping track of my bought yarn, making more video tutorials, keeping less than 20 whips at a time, and having my shop drops every 2 months. I might make it every month depending on how quickly I can get stuff done. I just like the idea of it being every 2 months so that I'm not stressed about how much I am getting done. And at the end of the year, I will want to make a video talking about like all the goals that we made and what we completed, what we didn't complete, all of that fun stuff. So it would be really exciting to see what we prioritize throughout the year and what we decide isn't really necessary to be working on. Because right now I'm really motivated to be doing socks, but who knows how motivated I'll be by the end of the year. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!